How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Loose Cannons podcast. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all well. The weekend is upon us. It's FA Cup action back again for the 25-26 season. But we've got Premier League football to talk about, a massive opportunity missed to talk about. And as always, I've got Jordan and James in the building. Like, hype, subscribe, do all of that stuff. And as always, a special guest, a very special guest, another guest that in the comment section, I'm seeing a lot of comments clamoring for Harry to be on the show. And Harry is on the show. Harry Semenyo in the building. What are you telling me, Harry?
Thanks for having me, guys. You're too kind.
Big sport in the building.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it. I've watched the first few episodes of the show. Really enjoy it. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, there's one guy in the comments that every single show he writes, 9th episode, I'm asking for Harry. 10th episode, I'm asking for Harry. So if that's you in the comments, you got Harry. So who's next on your list?
I'll send him a check in the post.
like Jordan said, I mean, Talk Sport, you're not only Talk Sport, commentary. You've got your YouTube channel. Make sure you go subscribe. People, he's closing in on 50k. The Chronicles of a Gooner. Listen, me and Harry's one of the first person on the internet that I ever done content with. I think back in the day, Same Old Arsenal. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. I used to love that. It was good fun. We used to have some great chats, great conversations. Yeah, man. Like like everybody's doing their kind of thing, and it's great to see like people doing different things as well, like which is amazing. It's nice to see people that you've been talking Arsenal with from the beginning, sort of doing amazing things, and all of you guys are smashing it. The show's amazing. Looking at your channels and all the stuff you've been doing, it's brilliant to see.
Come on. Well, what aspect of what you're doing do you enjoy the most? Like, I know you've gone into commentary, you got a YouTube channel, but you also do the mainstream stuff. Like, just out of curiosity, if there's one you could, continue for the rest of your life career, which one would be the one you put all the eggs in?
I think I love doing my podcast because it's like my baby. It's the thing that I started with, and it's the thing that opened doors for me, essentially. Like, obviously, had some opportunities on other channels and stuff, but in terms of consistent Arsenal content, that's been the thing for me. But I have to say nowadays the commentary is the thing I love most. Like going to the game, turning up, sort of having all your notes ready, going through them, trying to anticipate what might happen, and trying to find the right words in the right moments. It's been amazing. Like that for me is the thing. If I go back to when I was a kid and I was playing Pro Evo, I used to take the commentary off and commentate myself. So to be doing it at football matches now is amazing. And I'm grateful for all the opportunities, because there's a lot of people that would have looked at me and said, he's never done a game before, why should I give him a try? But they did. And so I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, we look at a couple of the ex-pros on mainstream media and say the same thing. Why the hell are they giving him a go? But we're in this world. James,
listen, I think Gary Neville could have taken some commentary tips from Harry Semenyo last night. Is all I'm saying. But
we'll get into that.
I want to hear more about that. Go on, James. Sorry, go on.
Well, I don't really think you should be saying
player's an idiot.
That he's surprised Liverpool players didn't go and whack Martinelli and take.
Is that what he said?
Commentary, yeah.
You know what? I've got no problem with what he said.
No, me neither.
I think he said it for a situation that didn't warrant it being said, because you should know Martinelli did that because he thought Bradley was play acting. And you could even see Bradley kind of push himself back a little bit onto the pitch. Now, he was injured, and in hindsight, it looks terrible, right? But I think what I've woken up to today, memes, tweets, little clips about him, he thought he was play acting. Like, that's all it was. And he pushed him. It's wrong. But I don't understand how anyone can see that and think, oh, he's an evil person. I
can. Sorry, we're in now. We're in. It's disgraceful.
Jordan, before you go on, you're not connected on your right mic, I don't think. Just before, I think let's hear you loud and clear. I am half asleep, everyone. I woke up 5 minutes ago, man. I know it's not because of that Arsenal game, but oh my word. All right, Jordan, take it away. Go on.
I think it's disgraceful, and I disagree to her. I don't think it's a hindsight thing. I think we all are aware that players feign injury, right? I think we're all aware that happens. Every player does it. Fine. But the reason why I think it's particularly distasteful and even disgraceful for Martinelli to do what he did. The ball thing, I think, was overblown. I don't think he threw the ball. Go on.
I'm saying, come on, Jordan. You're moving mad. But go on.
No. Let me put the case forward, and then you can bash me. Okay. The ball thing I thought was overblown. I don't think he's thrown the ball at him. I think he's just kind of thrown the ball in his direction. I don't think it was an intentional. So the ball thing, I think, was overblown, right? But to try and drag a player off the pitch, A, that's not your job. That's not your role. Second thing, 20 minutes earlier, you were on the floor in their box for 5 minutes, feigning injury. Right? You did that. I'm screaming, get up, Martinelli. He was fine. So you did the exact set. You did the thing you were accusing Bradley of doing 20 minutes earlier when we needed a goal. You were feigning injury for 5 minutes in the box. The third reason is you've had a really bad knee injury yourself. You know what it's like when you had a bad injury and you're down.
In that moment, he didn't know that.
He didn't know that. He didn't know that, but you'd have thought he would show a little bit of grace knowing what it's like when you are injured. It's not your job to pick up a player. Let the referee do his job. That's not your job. And then here's the other thing that I think, even if you think that's all wrong, guys, from a selfish point of view, all players do this, and it annoys me when we do it. At that time, we needed a goal, guys. When you do that, what you're doing is, and you cause a commotion, you're wasting our own time, and you're also killing our momentum. So Liverpool want a kerfuffle. They want a fight. They want drama because it kills momentum and it runs the clock. So when you're doing that, Martinelli, you're actually hurting us. You're hurting us. Let ref do his job. Let him get off the pitch, and then we can carry on trying to score a goal. So even if you think that what he's been criticized for is incorrect, which I disagree with, from a selfish point of view, it's hurting us. Gabriel did a similar thing in the second half where he pulled I think Gyokeres. Was it Gyokeres?
Yes.
Brother, what are you doing? Leave him on the floor. Just leave him on the floor.
But sometimes, I mean,
Turkish, we need a goal
all the time.
Turkish, we need a goal. Why are you getting involved? In those scenarios, it benefits the other team that are trying to get a point to cause a drama. Just get on with it. Get on with it. In the first half, finally, we did something really good. Frimpong was down in the box. He was fine. He was fine. I think he rolled his ankle, but he was fine. We played on, which is what you're supposed to do. All this getting involved, and it only hurts us. It hurts us.
I don't agree with that.
Go on.
Because you can use that stuff to your advantage. Now, on the Martinelli one in isolation first, because that's a different one. I stand by my point. In that moment, I've been on a football pitch, nowhere near this level, right? But if it seemed like the players potentially feigning an injury, right? Because Bradley is injured, right? And that's what makes this an issue. But if you watch the situation, he does push himself back onto the pitch, which is back onto Martinelli's leg, and that initiates the whole, what's this guy doing? Move back off the pitch. So I completely understand everything going through Martinelli's head in that moment. And to be honest, you're saying we need to win the game. I mean, the game was never set up for us to win at that stage. I don't know whether, it could have done us any benefit if he didn't, go and get into a little, what was in turn a melee. Because it wasn't our game. We wasn't in flow of things. It wasn't like that stopped us building wave after wave, because we wasn't in that game in the second half until maybe the last couple of minutes. So I think in isolation, I think it's a moment of misjudgment from Martinelli, but that's all it is. Harry, I see you nodding. I mean, what's your opinion?
Just before Harry comes in, before boys come in, just quick finally from me. I actually think if that's Martin Lewis Skelly, if that's Ethan Wanyeri, and I'm not seeing my senior players coming in and moving to man for trying to push my man off the, I'm raging. I think Martinelli, I mean, forget punching him or swinging for him. I'm surprised Van Dijk, some of the senior players, didn't go for him. Because if that's my player, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get off my player and mind your business. I know you want to score a goal. I know you're frustrated, but you don't do that. So if it's the other way around, I'm raging. So I'm not advocating violence, but I'm like, no, if that happened to Martin Lewis Skelly, one of my younger players, I'm advocating for my senior guys to get involved and back up my guy. That's why I ain't got a problem with what Neville said. I just don't think the situation warranted it. I think there's some situations where I'll say, just go grab him, move to him. But I don't think that in the moment, I think the Liverpool players did kind of surround and, push Martinelli around a bit, and it spilled over. But yeah, Harry, I mean, what's your thoughts on it since we started there?
It's one of those situations, I think, that you can interpret in a number of different ways, right? But ultimately, my problem is not with people that are criticizing Martinelli. Okay, I don't think he should have done it, but I've got the benefit of hindsight when I say that. We know that Connor Bradley picked up an actual injury because we all saw the replay. Martinelli doesn't see that replay. The ball's gone out of play. He's turned his head away. He's not looking at it. And also, the character of the player comes into it here as well. Gabriel Martinelli is the last guy in the Arsenal team that's going to be nasty and do something like that. He was wound up. He was fired up. He'd come off the bench and he was desperate to make an impression. My problem with the commentary around it, and I do have an issue with what Gary Neville said, because Gary Neville sits there on podcasts and on TV shows talking about how hard his team were and how they kicked Jose Antonio Reyes off the park because that's what needed to happen. But all of a sudden has done a complete 360 on what's allowed on the pitch and what's not on the pitch, and has completely forgotten his own experiences whereby he would have crossed lines and done things like that at the same time. Saying they should go in and whack him is ridiculous. It's a silly bit of commentary. It's
and
really,
take a red
really
card
poor.
for it.
Yeah, and take a red card for it. Like, it's really, really poor from Gary Neville. And you know what was telling for me, right? When the game ended, so I was covering the game for radio last night. So when the game ended, what we do is we go and wait around basically in a little room until the managers come through and give their interviews. And I was scrolling on social media and it was like Martinelli this and Martinelli that, big villain of the piece all of a sudden. Arne Slot comes in, and this said everything for me about this situation. Arne Slot comes in. The minute he's asked the question about Martinelli, his face completely changes and he says, I can, to a degree, understand. I'm paraphrasing, but to a degree, I can understand where Martinelli's coming from there. And I thought that was mature from Arne Slot. I thought he tried to diffuse a situation that didn't need to be blown out of proportion. It's a situation that blew up because the game was uneventful. Okay, if that's a free draw and that happens, no one's even talking about this incident. It's because there's nothing to talk about. And I find it sad that someone like Gary Neville, who when he first started doing punditry, for me was one of the best, has turned into this clickbait merchant that knows that he needs to give some sort of soundbite on every single game to keep himself going. Like, I don't mind it in punditry. Match commentary, though, is not the place for it. Right? Say what you want in the studio, have a little rant in the studio. In the game, that's a ridiculous thing to say. And Arne Slot, for me, went to diffuse the situation and used it to highlight a bigger problem in our game, which is diving, time wasting. And I thought that was great from him. Martinelli will get heat for it. And I even said myself, I don't mind people being critical of Gabriel Martinelli's role in that and what he did. Critical is one thing, but for this to follow him around, I think is OTT. And
He's
it's just
apologized, to be fair.
Yeah, he's apologized, exactly. But there will be people for whom this follows Gabriel Martinelli around. And I just think it's indicative of the whole let's make a mountain out of a molehill attitude that we've got in and around football at the moment. And I'm sick of it.
Yeah, Harry, I agree with
James,
so much of what you said. Go on, Turkish.
Just before you go, I just want to... I won't call it a curveball, but I agree with what you said about the commentary and punditry thing and the different platforms and how they might be similar, but there's a difference to it. But you also mentioned Gary Neville, the time he played. Let's talk about that Antonio Reyes game just for a second. If I look back on that game, one of my instructions would have been give him one in that game. Give that guy one in that game because he's trying it with Reyes. Whack him one. I don't think that, and I think Gary also knows that. So as much as he's saying it now, I think he also knows that his performances at time during that time would have warranted that sort of attitude too, where it was probably more accepted. You could whack a player one, not in terms of a punch, but I mean, it was a lot more physical in the challenge than it is now. So I just think his platform is still like, from a place where in his time, it was still very much, hold on, what are you doing to my teammate? Let me step in there.
Can you not see the hypocrisy in it, though? Like, on the one hand, you want to whack someone, right? Which is fine if that's the way you want to be, but be consistent with it. Then you're getting upset about Martinelli dropping a ball on someone. It's not going to do him any damage, mate. Like, it's not a big deal.
You're right there. You're right.
I'm fine if that's his position and it's consistent, cool. But it's the way that he can flip from I'll smash someone when I'm playing. I want someone to get smashed for doing what Martinelli did, but then I'm going to get on my high horse and cry about someone dropping a ball on someone from about a yard.
Right. There's a lot to unpack there. I think you guys have spoken about it brilliantly. And actually, there's a lot I agree with on all sides, genuinely. So on the whole like whack someone in game. I think there's a difference between it's a tactic to go in a bit harder on someone, and post an incident, I want my players to overspill in their reaction and go and give someone something when the ball is dead, when there's been a foul, when there's a commotion after. He's advocating for, well, he's not advocating, to be fair to him, but he kind of is, because he's saying, I'm surprised the Liverpool players basically didn't blow up over that. I agree with everything you said about commentary and punditry and the difference there, Harry. I completely agree. And I also held and kind of do hold Gary Neville to like a higher standard of punditry and commentary. And I haven't loved his commentary for a few years, if I'm perfectly honest, in my opinion. And Jordan, I think, made a great point that some people were replying to me saying, oh, James, you were really harsh on Martinelli in your match reaction. And I watched it back. No, I wasn't harsh on Martinelli. I actually didn't say that much on Martinelli. But I was certainly harsh on the players. I think the bigger point was that our behavior and our maturity levels throughout the 90 minutes, I think we're on the floor throughout the whole 90. I think throughout the game, we looked like we just had a degree of head loss that I didn't understand. And for me, that goes through so many emotions, like Gabriel trying to pick up Wirtz from the floor. Like Jordan said, who cares? Leave him there. If he's dived, he's looking for a penalty, who cares? Trossard, sometimes Trossard has a game where he's got something, you see it in his eyes, and he had it all 90, where I just thought, oh my word, you're on the verge here, mate. Nearly gives away a penalty after picking up a second yellow card, mouthing off to the referee when he had a second yellow card. Well, when he could have got a second yellow, should I say. Saka, who I thought was brilliant that first half, really lazy high leg into Gyokeres, just a lazy dangle that, you know, again, Gyokeres could have made more of, but he doesn't. What else did we see? You know, the Saliba Raya incident. What's that? Sorry,
Zubamendi had a silly moment or two as well.
Yeah, yeah. Saliba and Raya, when they had a miscommunication, were both going back at each other, talking about communicating. Then the moment when Frimpong goes down, I can actually sympathise with Arsenal for playing on, but at the same time, it happened in such an ineffective area of the pitch that probably is that I normally say play on, right? Play to the referee's whistle. But that's actually happened in our own penalty area. And we've gone and played all the way through. I can kind of understand what it was a bit like, look, put the ball out. Like he's gone down, he's rolled his ankle. Like I just think throughout the game, let me just see a tweet because I wrote a few other moments, but I think that's pretty much it. I just think throughout the game, you're right, Martinelli diving in the penalty area. Let's be honest, he dived. He was holding his leg for a long time in the penalty area because he wanted VAR to go back and look at it. And then he has that moment on the touchline, which again, it's definitely been blown out of proportion a little bit, but it still looks bad. Like he's apologized, fair play, Gabby. He's spoken to Conor Bradley, and we could put that all to bed. But that's not to say it wasn't a bad moment for him, and that's why we've spoken about it too. I think throughout the 90, outside of the fact that we basically got dominated that second half, I just thought Arsenal just weren't there. Their heads weren't there. It was really weird. I didn't recognize the team for a lot of that game. And that's fine. You can have a bad game. It's not the end of the world. Guys, I'm not even that bothered we drew. Like, it is what it is. 6-point lead. We'll kick on to next week. An opportunity missed can happen. I just think we looked really weird throughout the game. And weird's the only word I can find. We were so weird in the way we handled the occasion.
Sorry, Turks, I know you're going to move on, Turks. There's a lot to get through, but just my final point on this one. I didn't hear the line from Neville, obviously I was there, about you should whack and take a red.
I'll try to find the exact quote for you, Jordan.
That is, you can't do that. And I agree with Harry 100% in terms of the etiquette of commentary versus the etiquette of punditry. You can't, that is a line he's looking for on clickbait. So I agree with Harry in that sense.
Nah.
I don't think you can say that in commentary.
To sum it up, though, to sum it up.
Sorry, I'm the sort of character as well that in that moment, I probably would. How many times on a watch along, James? A couple, maybe 2-3 times over the years have I said about a referee, go whack one of them and then they'll soon fix up what they're doing. Now, I'm not promoting doing it. I'm saying in the moment.
Kind of are.
When the decision's going against you and you're thinking, how are you sending him off for that? And it's like the 7th one. It's like this is the 7th mad red card we've received because we've had a few. I'm going mad thinking, go do something.
Turkish.
You're a football fan. You're a football fan.
He's a professional commentator
on a fan platform.
Yeah.
This is Gary Neville, who like is I'm sure, I don't know this, but I'm sure he's paid good money,
2 mil a year.
in the nicest way, Turkish, to be a level above us. Like, I think, like, we hold him to a slightly.
Have you seen Sky Sports thumbnails recently? Jamie Carragher. I don't know about level above us anymore, brother.
No, do you know what? Actually,
Hang on.
Right.
But my final point was just going to be, I was with Harry in terms of his delineation of the difference between punishment and. But I think we're conflating whacking the player in a tackle. Martinelli didn't get bashed because he tackled him poorly. We're criticizing the reaction. I'm not saying that Martinelli did anything wrong in the actual challenge. There's a difference between saying, "Oh, the tackle was unacceptable," versus
therefore give him one back, Jordan. Yeah,
Sorry?
the tackle was bad. The tackle was bad. Therefore, give him one back. There's a difference. What he's basically saying is the off-field antics were poor, or the dead ball antics, if you want. I don't want to call it. Therefore, Liverpool should react even worse. Like, basically, because the quote was, I've got it here. I know we are harping on, but it was, "I'm actually fuming with Martinelli. I don't know how the Liverpool players didn't go over and absolutely whack him, to be honest with you." And then he even adds after, which isn't in the quote graphic, "and take a red card for it," he says. He's basically saying, do something so bad, you're going to get sent off. But he's not saying do it. He said, "I don't know how they didn't." And it's like, oh, just don't go there. But
you know what
anyway.
it reminds me of? Because I think Van Dijk whacked him one in the World Cup. Rodrigo de Paul. Do you remember when Rodrigo smashed the ball at the bench and Van Dijk went and absolutely chest bumped him out of the way? That's also wacky. Like, in terms of what we're taking from his whack one, we're thinking go grab the guy and just give him a belt into the nose. There's also a different way to whack someone. Do you get it? Where it's not.
I get you. I get you.
You mentioned red
I think he deserved it. I think if you'd have done that to Martinelli, I think Martinelli would have deserved it.
In that moment, like if it was our player there, we would have felt the same way. Do you get it?
What, a chest bump, you mean? Not, bloody hell.
We would have felt it. I don't know. We would have felt that at that moment because we're Arsenal fans. Liverpool fans would feel that because they're Liverpool fans. But Gary Neville's supposed to be a neutral co-commentator here. This is the point. And, you know, to sum it up, because obviously when I got back from the game last night, I'd seen stuff on X about what Gary Neville said. I Googled Gary Neville on Martinelli, and there's a whole dedicated article page on the Sky Sports website with a 30-second video of that incident and Gary Neville's commentary. So Sky know what they're doing. They're looking at it and they're going, this is the exact moment that we want from this game to go and make traffic like that. So that just kind of sums it all up, doesn't it, of the day and age we're living in terms of football coverage.
But have they found the trick? Is Gary Neville on the thumbnail like this? That's what they need to be. Martinelli, I can't believe it. But listen, James is right. Let's keep it moving, because the reason this is such a, I mean, Harry said it first. The reason this is such a talking point is because the game had very little talking points. But I think as Arsenal fans,
I got a few.
Yeah, I'm sure you. I mean, you probably got 7. I'm used to that by now. But going into that game, it was 5 points. It was another City draw, and a big chance for us to capitalize 3 game weeks in a row on City dropping points. And it felt like the one that if we had capitalized, for me anyway, and I've seen other commentators, pundits talk about it, Cam's being one a United fan, it felt like if we had won this one, we would have been 1 game away, 1 more game swing away from wrapping this league title up, and it would have deflated a Man City. I think you don't win a league title now mathematically, but you can win a league title now mentally. And I think it's a big chance we've had to inflict a mental blow on Manchester City and deflate them. Instead, I've woke up deflated today. You know, 6 points, there's still very much a big chance for them there. Whether they take it or not, that's on them. I still think we go and win it. But I also think moments like yesterday, across seasons, whether it's Liverpool winning it, whether it's City winning it, whether it's us winning it 03, 04, 97, 98, and so on, that game yesterday, the champions win it. And that's what's left me very deflated. And that's not me saying I don't think we're gonna be champions, but that's me saying why? Why was it so flat? Why was there no heart? Why was there no life? Because I think the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes was good. It looked like we was about to pen them back into their half. And usually we can take the whole poor first half. Not poor first half. Usually we can take the whole slow first half because the second half, it's, you know, we come off the blocks quite well. But when you look at the second half and the way it panned out, I look at the first half again and think across the 90 minutes, we had 20 minutes of ball possession, no real chance creation. And we walk away Emirates 0-0, you know, no revenge, no 8-point difference. It's as is moving forward. Harry, let's start with you. Do you disagree with anything I said? And if you don't and you agree, why was it so? How can it be so? How could it be so flat? I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses, because I'm not. I'm just trying to find reasons as to why that might have been the case, right? So if I'm thinking about it in my mind, I'm going back to the Bournemouth game, first of all, because we made some changes in that game on the flanks, but we stuck with the same midfield trio. It's a midfield trio that needs high energy. Rice has always got high energy, which is crazy, but he seems to always produce there. Zubimendi, Odegaard, I don't know. I didn't feel they were quite up to that normal level yesterday. And again, it's not an excuse. You've got to play multiple games a week. That's what you need to do nowadays if you want to win major trophies. But I'm just trying to find explanations. I thought we lacked energy at times. I didn't think we controlled the midfield in the way that we normally do. I thought our plan was to try and get the fullbacks into the half spaces, and that was the way we were looking to unlock Liverpool. And I actually asked Arteta after the game if that was, I know we've seen it at times this season, but is that what you thought was going to unlock Liverpool today? And he said, based on how they defend, that was what we thought was the best approach. Then you've got your centre halves having to step into the midfield and try and distribute, which is, to be fair to William Saliba, I thought he played a few good passes in behind towards Jury and Timber, a couple with the right idea, but didn't just come off. I think generally, like, we were just not at our level all round, everybody. You know, we weren't at the level that we need to be. We weren't at the standard required. And I think low energy at the end of what's been a really, really taxing run has ultimately caught up with us a little bit here. Maybe we were too tense. I felt there was a bit of a tense energy inside the stadium at times. So that certainly was a factor. But yeah, it's a really tough one, because I want to go in on the team and say that wasn't good enough, in particular that second half where we allowed Liverpool to wrestle control of the game. But I do feel like it was just one of those days, and I don't really want to dwell on it. To be 6 points clear is still very, very good. It's a much better position than any of us thought we'd be in at this stage. And I think it's important that we don't allow the narrative to become a really negative one. Analyze the game by all means, break down what we think didn't work on the day, learn from it, because for excellence, you need to be able to reflect and be truthful about performances. So let's do that. But I think it's one of those things that we've got to draw a line under and move on and go again. That would be kind of my assessment.
Yeah, I agree with all of that massively. I think basically, like, and I actually had to ask myself whether I am doing a bit of a denial thing, because I basically went, oh, well, oh, well, it happened. Let's just move on. Like, that's almost how I'm treating it a little bit. Like, whatever, bad day, kind of let's keep it moving. And you know what? The last few times I did that, post the Sunderland draw, Chelsea draw, I like to think my take reflected quite well, because we went on a good run and we've only built on that lead and momentum. So sometimes it's about, you're right, just recognizing, cool, it didn't really happen, but we're still a very good team. But there was something quite concerning, and Jordan's got his concerns. We'll move on to you quite quickly, Jordan. But I think there's quite a bit of concern in the way we couldn't wrestle back anything in that second half. I was watching it going like, oh, wow, like not 1 point. Are we going to grab back momentum here? That was really, really strange. Go on, Turkish, sorry.
That's where I think the Eze conversation is warranted now. Because
Yeah.
it's all good and well winning games and he's not getting minutes, and you can hope that he comes in, you know, February, March and you know, does what he needs to do. But when he comes into a game, or when our attackers come into a game where it's time to change something up, we haven't seen it. You know, it's been a little while. We've had moments off the bench like a Martinelli, a Trossard, a goal and a moment. But in terms of changing the swing of things, not that we've had to do that often, but it didn't work yesterday.
That was the wrong change. That was the wrong change for me. Sorry to interrupt. That was the wrong change. As much as I like Eze and I think he's a great attacking player and he's got creativity and all of that, that was the wrong change, because what we were missing was control. And if you don't have control, you can't platform a player like Eze. He's not going to run around and press and hassle and win the ball back for you. He's not going to do that stuff. If Martin Odegaard had to come off, and he was gassed out by that point, for me, you had to do something else. maybe Mikel Merino. That was not the right decision for me. And we can talk about Eze and the merit of him, starting games and not starting, and the lack of minutes and all the rest of it. But I just think that some of Mikel's changes yesterday, for me, were the wrong changes. And they were changes that were designed to give us sort of an edge in the hope that we'd win the game, but we weren't doing the basics in the first place. We didn't have the control to create. We didn't have the ball enough to create. And so you bring on a player like Eze. For me, off the ball, he's not as good as Martin Odegaard. So what you did was you actually reduced your power as a team to wrestle back the level of control you need. Sorry to interrupt.
I completely agree. He basically was hoping for a moment. He was hoping Madueke or Martinelli would destroy a fullback or get him behind. He was hoping the ball might fall to Eze. We might nick it. He was hoping Jesus might give us a little bit more up top. But you're right. We never had control. So I completely agree with you on that.
James,
yeah, go on.
Just on that point, was it too like for like?
Well, the Eze Odegaard change, or
all the attacking changes were like for like. Jesus, Gyokeres, Trossard came off for Martinelli. Then it was Saka for Madueke, and it was Eze Odegaard, right?
I hear you. Like, could he have basically moved Saka to the left and Madueke on the right, or like something like that? Is that what you're saying?
The methodical approach wasn't working, so I thought like for like changes wasn't necessarily the way to go about it. Like Harry said, control is is the aim, right? But then again, why our midfield backups lack the ability to control a game? So if that is the be all and end all, then maybe the recruitment there hasn't been great, because Jorginho used to come off the bench and we knew he had an element of control to his game. Norgard doesn't have that. Merino doesn't have that in the midfield. So we actually don't have. If Zubimendi and Rice can't control the game, then I think we've got to find something different. And I don't think like for like subs was the way to go about it. I think maybe you try something different, but maybe we haven't tried something different enough before to know this would work.
Yeah, maybe. I get what you mean. Henry thought of it that way. I mean, I'll pass on to Jordan now, but just to say that my point I made earlier in the whole Martinelli combo, I do think we just lost our heads a little bit. Not lost our heads as in like, we're raging all over the pitch, nor did we. I don't think we buckled under the pressure of the occasion. I just think we played really weirdly this game. Like, there was just a mental edge to us I didn't really like in this game. So I think that was a big part of it. You're all going to laugh in my face, and I'm about to recreate the Thai interview on AFTV. But I wondered whether the first 10 minutes where it was absolutely steaming it down with rain. Jordan, you at the game, well, and you, Harry. I mean, I'd love to know how it was for you guys that first 10 minutes. I wondered whether it slowed the tempo down early, because as much as people like to laugh about the whole, it rains for both teams, who cares? Well, yeah, I think it affected both teams. I think there was quite Liverpool weren't going from one end of the pitch to the other really quickly either. I think both teams almost needed an extra second on their first touch. We're really second guessing whether to drive into space. We're really second guessing a pass. And sometimes it can be weather conditions. If they're particularly extreme, that can just make a team second guess a first touch, a pass, a dribble, or whatever. And maybe it just really slowed the occasion down for both teams. Because let's be honest, that was not a great watch. Full credit to Liverpool for how they came through it and how they turned the first half momentum into second half domination for them. But it was really, really weird from both teams. No one was really going for it. They didn't make it a game about duels. They didn't make it a game about sort of really quick 1-2s or constant driving into space. It felt quite safe from both teams in possession. And the final thing was that ultimately, I also think, but I don't think this is a good thing. It's just my assessment of it. I think the fact that City drew, I think Arsenal, when they recognised around minute 70 that they were really struggling to get a hold of this game, I think they probably just thought, it's okay, we don't need to. And I'm not saying that's right. I just think to a degree, the players, not Arteta maybe, because I think Arteta was very animated on the touchline. But I think there was a degree of don't chase Liverpool all over the pitch. Don't make this a basketball game. Let's not open it up. If we can win it, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. We're 6 clear. I don't agree with that. It felt to me like there was a little bit of resignation quite early on of we're not going to win this, and that's okay. That's just how I think. That's how I felt.
A lot of the petulant or moments the players had that you mentioned too, I think that comes off the back of expecting a better performance, expecting a better, I don't know, more possession, more, because a few of them, we mentioned Trossard, Martinelli, Zubi, we mentioned a few players that had moments in that game, and I think that's a reflection of it's not going our way.
Can two things be true though, Turkish? Can it be you're really frustrated, therefore you're internalizing that maybe just don't do everything to chase them all over the pitch and win? It's like we were so deep, like Szoboszlai and Wirtz, you know, Gabriel and Saliba should be stepping 10, 15 yards further forward. I've seen them as centre-backs chase players all over the pitch, like all the way to the opposition penalty area they've pressed. And they weren't doing that in this game. Certainly not in that second half.
Can I offer a slightly alternative opinion on why it felt like that in the later stages of the game? Because I in my own head, when it got to about 70 minutes, I was like, just don't lose this, because I couldn't see where the goal was coming from. I couldn't see how we were going to take back the control that we needed. I actually think, and I hate going in on individuals, but I actually think Miles Lewis-Skelly was a big part of why we dropped off 10 yards deeper, and why we had to play in a slightly different way. Frimpong was beating him every single time. I know it's tough to come off the bench in a game like that and be expected to catch up with the speed and the rhythm of things really quickly. So I don't want to go too hard on Miles Lewis-Skelly, but he was a weak link in that Arsenal team when he came on. It was clear to see. And I think that meant that there was a natural tendency to drop off an extra few yards. Gabriel has to babysit a little bit. Declan Rice is more conscious of the spaces he's leaving as the left 8 as well. And I think all of those things combined, as well as a drop in energy levels, Liverpool actually playing quite well in terms of retaining the ball. I think all of those things combined is why we ended up finishing the game that way we did. But I'll keep going back to it. I am much happier seeing Arsenal in a position of strength like we are, being sensible about things. You get a feeling, don't you? I'm not saying don't try till the end, but sometimes you get a sense of whether or not that game is actually there for you to win. And if it's not, then you make sure you do the basics right first and make sure that you don't lose it, because losing that yesterday would have been a complete momentum swinger, and would have changed the whole narrative around Arsenal. So it's not ideal that we got the draw, and of course we're disappointed with the performance. I think there's other individuals that we could go into as well. I'm sure we will. Victor Gyokeres, not mentioning any names, but
we're waiting for a verdict up here.
I'm waiting for that. But I just think that so many factors in the game contributed to why we ended up dropping off the way we did.
Sorry, Jordan, it's your time. I think we know you got a list of like things you want to go through. Here's the stage. We've padded out with some other bits.
Yes,
I think I'm going to agree with a lot of what you say.
Well, I agree with a lot of what you guys have said. I mean, I want us to go back to and start off with the atmosphere being there. I don't know if Harry felt this as well, but there felt like there was an atmosphere of expectancy. That's the right verb, from the fan base. Like, yeah, we do the old standard caveat of fans pay their money. It's a wet Thursday night. You know, the fans are loud in voice, yada, yada. Anyway, fans were great, whatever. Put that to one side. There felt like there was a vibe of we just expect to go 8 points clear. And I think that translated a little bit onto the pitch. I didn't love the energy of...
Sorry to cut you so early, but I hate that, because when Man City were winning titles, there wasn't an expectation in these games. When Liverpool were winning titles, there wasn't an expectation. When Man United,
I'm getting there.
Like, do you get what I'm saying?
I'm getting there.
I know you're not using it like that, but it's like, yeah, we expected to beat them. Is that so bad?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm just saying, first of all, I was in there thinking, this doesn't feel, I don't know, I didn't feel fun. That when I got there, I don't know, maybe it was just me, and I think that comes from a narrative that the fan base did all kind of think. I mean, we predicted 3s and 4s, I think, in our predictions, right? Yeah. And other fans did too, but the team have got to deal with that. I know Harry and James have said that they don't want to dwell too much on the game, and sometimes you've got to just draw a line and move on. I struggle to do that. Our old friend Lee, when we did our previous podcast, guys, said something on this consistent basis that I totally agreed with. When Arsenal were crap, do you think you can go to Anfield and get a 0-0 draw? When Arsenal were poor, do you think Arsenal could go to the Etihad and get a 0-0 draw? Those teams were getting they're slapping us 4-0 minimum, 5s and 6s. The frustration for me is that we don't seem to have this gene in our DNA that when we're the top dogs, when we're the best team in the country, we don't smell blood and put foot on neck and break it. Liverpool are poor. They were good yesterday. They were organised, and I agree with Harry. The midfield battle, I thought, was won by them largely. Liverpool are missing their front three. You're not going to get a better time to put out a statement win against the current champions and a very big club as you would for me last night. That's 2 games and no goals. That's 2 games and 4 points this Liverpool's been taken against us. Now, we won't go into the whole do you matter how you win the title, because that argument is I'm in a minority of one. I think it matters, but most Arsenal fans won't care they win the title. I get that. But for me, and I'm still not ready to claim us as Premier League title champions incoming just yet, we are limping to May. And I just think yesterday was an opportunity to not only get 3 points, and for me, what would put one hand, albeit in January, on the title, but the statement that beating Liverpool 3-0 would put out to not only Manchester City, but the rest of the league was so missed. I was so disappointed in how we performed yesterday. Saliba and Gabriel take on the ball way too much. And at points, I don't know, again, if you guys saw this, they were in the wing position so often. I don't know why Gabriel and Saliba were wingers. For somebody, it was so weird. It was bizarre. This slow build-up thing is so poor. And from a consumer's point of view, I paid a lot of money to go to that game last night, boys, right? From a spectacle, it was just awful. No tempo, no urgency. And that was down to Liverpool largely, I agree as well. But I just thought it was so poor. Manchester City have drawn 3 games in a row. When does that happen? We had an opportunity last night to really say something. And we were just tepid. And we were just, And I don't buy this argument of we're still 6 points clear, we move on. Because at some point, you have to really assert yourself. Because other champion teams, as you said at the start, Turkish, that's what they do. They say, you know what? If you're going to put food on my plate, I'm going to eat it and I'm going to lick the plate. We kind of dabbled around and we took the lettuce out and we put the tomatoes to one side and we ate the meat and what are we doing? At some point, we just have to do that. I thought it was Rice's worst game this season. And I think that might be a lack of power. Maybe he's tired after a very long Christmas period. I thought Rice was really, really average. I thought the midfield was outdone. For me, I thought the only good player from Arsenal, yes, there was only one player I thought came off that pitch with any real credit, and it was Timber. I thought Timber was brilliant yesterday. I thought up and down he was really, really good. I was just in the game watching, thinking to myself, this just isn't really a team. I want to be where you are, Turkish, where you think this team is going to win the Premier League title. And I think we are still the favourites. But I just want the team to do something to make me say, yeah, boys, it's happening. And whilst I'm not having City, I just can't say it yet. I can't say it yet. And it's games like last night that make me just think to myself, you've just got to find that extra gear somehow. We never looked like scoring in that game. Madueke came on and did a couple of good things, but yeah, Eze didn't do anything. 15 minutes to go, fair enough. I thought Martinelli was, apart from a couple of runs, okay. I just thought that Saka, I thought, was poor. And I want to chat about Saka briefly as well. I find it interesting that he's not signed his contract yet. And a friend of mine I went to the game with made a really interesting point. Saka wants big money. But I wonder if the club are thinking, you got to do big things. Now, we all love Saka, and I think Saka for 2 seasons carried us. So this is not me saying I don't rate Saka, and I don't want Saka to stay. But Saka wants big 250, 350 a week. And I just wonder if the club is saying, go on, just give us a reason to sign that 300k, 250k a week contract. But at the moment, Saka's contributing, but he's not showing that he's worthy of being the club's all-time or highest paid player. He's just not doing that. He's okay, but I think the club need more than okay. And I think there's too many okay performances where he gets an assist, but he's not. He gets a goal, but he's not. And I just think he needs to go to that next level. And I feel like every year, apart from this year, he's incrementally got better and better. And it feels like he might have plateaued. And I'm not sure he's in that Rice, Saliba, Gabriel conversation of like our top earners, and that he definitely should be. But that's something we can have a discussion of another day. But my overall point is, it felt like a massive disappointment last night. And I think a champion team finds a way to beat what is an average Liverpool team having an average season. And I was disappointed in that last night. The performance was poor and we didn't win. You got to give me one. If you're not going to play well, win the game. Or if you're going to not win the game, at least give me a 0-0 where we knock on the door, we test the keeper. It wasn't good enough for me, boys, last night. And I don't think we should be losing our heads over it, but I don't think we can just dismiss it as that can happen. Because at some point you've got to write City off. You've got to dead this league. I don't think we've quite done that last night.
Multiple things can be true though, can't they, at the same time? Like last night, we should have taken advantage. We should have taken that opportunity. We should have extended our lead to 8 points. All of that is true, but the bigger picture is still a good one. And when I say that I don't want to dwell on it too much, is because I don't want to, what's the word? I don't want to like contaminate the bigger picture with a one-off performance. That's where I think we've got to be really, really careful. Because the other thing as well is, listen, I talked earlier in the pod about the need for excellence. And the only way you achieve excellence is if you are honest with yourselves and you go back over games and you figure out what you could have done better, how you can improve. You always have to be doing that, even when things are going well. You have to be looking at certain elements and aspects and thinking, how can I improve it? That's a constant ongoing thing that needs to happen. But I just think sometimes as well, we're suffering from this expectation level that has been created by Man City and Liverpool in recent years. The standards that they've set means that we go into this thinking we have to be perfect every single game and every single week. Guess what? As long as we're better than the teams that we're competing with, we will be champions this year. And if we do it with 85 points or 86 points, are we going to sit there at the end of the season and say, we didn't enjoy that because Man City done it once with 98 points? I'm not, or 100 points. I'm not going to say that. I think we just need to get there. We need to get there, whatever it takes. And we are benefiting from the fact that City aren't as good as they have been. And that went our way. We weren't good enough to take full advantage of it. But if you told me at the start of the Christmas period that we would come out of it 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League, I'd have bitten your hand off. So I agree with so many of the things that Jordan said about the performance, about some of the individuals. And all of that is absolutely valid and fair analysis that we need to consider. But at the same time, I think we've got to be so careful not to let it contaminate what the bigger picture looks like, because then you can go into this emotional spiral. And I think for us, we're fans, right? We're going to be reactionary, but the players have to be able to compartmentalize what happened last night, box it off and go again. And I think that'll be the message. Looking at Mikel Arteta's face after the game yesterday, I didn't see the prickly Mikel Arteta that you normally get when Arsenal don't get the result that they want. What I saw was a Mikel Arteta that was probably resigned to the fact that this wasn't our night, but we've got to move on from it. And I think that it might not be the way he's feeling inside, but that's the message you got to give to your players, because they can't dwell on it. No one can dwell on it. Otherwise, we end up in a negative spiral that I don't think is warranted based on just yesterday's game.
You guys have all seen the film Goodfellas, right?
Yeah, great film.
Right. One of my top 2 films of all time.
No,
one of my favorite scenes in any film I've seen, right? Do you remember the film? Actually, it's where the film starts. Remember the scene where they've taken the body out to bury, right? They're taking the body, one of the Gambino guys, out to bury in the country, right? And then they can hear in the boot that the guy's not dead, right? You can hear what's going on, and then they open the boot, right? And then Joe Pesci stabs him 4 or 5 more times in his gut, right? And then what does Robert De Niro do? He shoots him 4 times more. I'm like, brother, the guy's now dead. The guy's clearly now dead, right? He was dying before you stabbed him. You stabbed him 5 more times, and then Robert De Niro shoots him 5 more times. We didn't Robert De Niro Man City last night. We win that game last night.
Liverpool, but yeah.
He's definitely dead. He's definitely dead. And for me, we've got a situation now where we're moving on to this with the season, boys. The boot, there's a noise in the boot. There's a noise in the boot. I can hear something, guys. It's not, what's that noise? It's Man City. They're not quite dead. And I just wanted us last night to just bang, 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 bang. Now, this might not get, I hope to get that demonetized. I hope I've not messed up our podcast.
Too late to hope that. But yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, it's your money too. So,
but you get my point. I just thought it was a great chance. I
got it at the first few steps.
Sorry. I went too far. But it just felt to me. Right. I'm emotional, so maybe I'm overreacting. I just feel like last night was a chance to really flex. 8 points clear in January. We're not going to lose many games, guys. I think we're kind of there.
Yeah.
And I just think now it's like I can hear something.
Do you know, John? Every time you kind of speak on this idea of like the opportunity miss, I do actually, it's a bit annoying because you start making me think, oh God, you're right. Like that is frustrating. Like what could have been if we were sat here saying 8 points and all that? I think when I worry, when we miss an opportunity, what makes me worry is if I feel like there was a level that I was hoping Arsenal would get to that they didn't, but it's also a level I haven't seen us get to. So that sounds a bit weird. So let me explain what I mean. We've destroyed Tottenham. We've destroyed Bayern. We destroyed Villa. So for me, destroying Liverpool wouldn't have proven anything. And also not destroying them doesn't make me think that we can't do it. I'm not sat here going, oh, do we have that level in us? Because we've shown this season we do. So the only thing I feel about this game is bad night. We have 2 points less than I wish we had. And that's kind of it, because I don't feel like the Arsenal players needed to prove anything. I just feel like it's a shame we didn't do it. But you get what I'm saying? It's not like I'm looking at it going, oh, this is a chance to send a message to the world. Because I think we've done that a handful of times this season.
But not in the league. How many games in the league this season have you seen Arsenal win and flex?
Well, but that sounds good, but everyone watched 4-0 Atletico. Everyone watched 3-1 Bayern.
Like those flexes and those brilliant performances don't impact the league. I'm trying just the season, yeah. But in the league, I thought this was an opportunity in the league to not only pick up 3 points. I'm not diminishing Liverpool. They're still a big club and they're the champions. But I think if you beat Liverpool 3-0 convincingly, I just think that sends a different message to the rest of the league. Like, oh, okay.
For Villa, we send that message. Like,
okay,
Newcastle with the late winner. Okay, yeah, it's not a 4 and 5, but I think the message has been well and truly sent. Like, I think the league takes us seriously. And again, people laugh at the second again ole thing, but the message was sent by the fact that we have been in the top 2 the last 3. Everyone takes us seriously. I think everyone knows Arsenal are very good and they'll probably be champions. I just think it's a shame we just didn't have that extra bit of buffer.
The message that I agree with you on one hand, because the message that is very evident and that has been sent many times is we're a strong team. We haven't sent the message that we're a great team yet.
That's what I'm making. That's the point I'm making.
And these are the games. No, how can we haven't won anything? And yes, the expectation is we go and win it. But I think these games along the way build up the waves that you later ride down the line, right? Whether it's at the end of this season or whether it's back to back next season. I think you need Liverpool in particular. Like we have never turned the tide against them. Like Jordan said, and I think he said Lee said it. These teams, they would smoke us year in, year out when the opportunity was there to smoke us, and that's what turned them into killers. Whether it was us or United or Chelsea, they was doing it too. Those are the ones that built up the reputation. So I think we've got a big reputation for a strong team. Arteta's got a big reputation as a strong manager. But in terms of greatness, I still think, listen, the Premier League title does that, right? So it's not a single game that does that, but I think single games build up that momentum, build up that belief, build up that confidence that you are on the verge of greatness, and when you're great, you ride that greatness to as many trophies as you can.
We haven't achieved. Yeah, sorry. So I agree with you. We're obviously not in the conversation of greatness because you've got to win to do that. But I just think we've sent the message that we're like a top team, that we are one of the best in the world. That a lot of people would consider us the best team in the world.
Yesterday
right now.
Also sent a message that I think yesterday damaged, not greatly, but damaged the aura that we possess, right? Like we had the aura beginning of the season, no shots on goal, right? And then that kind of whittled away when Gabriel got injured. Sunderland scored 2. You know, that talk of Chelsea 15, long gone now, right? I just feel the same way now with it. Like Harry, do you get what I mean in terms of?
Yeah, like I get what you're saying. I do, and everything that you guys are saying is absolutely valid and fair, right? I just think there's a danger of over analyzing. That's what I'm wary of. Okay, and again, it's not to say that the points individually are not valid, but there's a danger that you overanalyze. If you go back to, I think it was 2 seasons ago, off the top of my head, we took 4 points off of Liverpool and we took 4 points off of Manchester City. Did we win the league? No, we didn't. So my point here is that you can place too much importance on individual fixtures. But what you don't do when you're doing that is think about the entire context of it all. You know, the Liverpool game at the start of the season, we lost Saliba a few minutes before kickoff, which was frustrating. I don't think we had Bukayo Saka that day, did we? I remember Madueke, I beg your pardon, playing wide right. So again, not excuses, but sometimes the timing of a game matters. And I think in recent years, at times, we've been really, really unlucky. You think about the year we were challenging for the title really closely with Man City. So not last year, the year before. We get Aston Villa at home sandwiched in between the 2 games against Bayern Munich. Whereas Man City, who were playing Real Madrid, had Luton in between. And we ended up dropping points in that Villa game because we couldn't handle it all. So yes, place emphasis on the fixture. But sometimes you got to zoom out a little bit and look at the bigger picture and say, okay, it didn't work out for us on that day. That doesn't mean we're not going to win the league because we didn't take enough points off of Liverpool. Liverpool are miles behind us. They're a good enough team to turn up on their day and cause us problems, as they did. But even Arne Slot yesterday was like, I don't know why everybody's saying this is such a good performance. We didn't create anything. He's absolutely right. So even at our worst right now, we are nullifying the champions.
But Harry, the remit's different. The remit's different though. They didn't come to win. They didn't need to create because they came for a point. But they didn't need to be great.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is that what we have to accept and acknowledge is that Arsenal's bottom level now is still better than most people.
Yeah.
And I said, go on.
No, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. Like, I get it. I understand the frustration. I'm as frustrated as anybody with last night. I turned up there. I didn't have a good feeling. Yeah, you guys mentioned the weather. It weren't great. I just didn't have that feeling. At halftime, you think, oh, maybe, you know, we're going to come out in the second half and be stronger. We weren't. You come away disappointed. You come away underwhelmed. But I think if you are competing at the highest level, you have to draw a line under things. And I think that we, at some point, and it's going to take us longer because we're fans, but at some point we got to do that. And I don't want to place too much importance on individual games. I want to look at the bigger picture. Have Arsenal been consistent this season? Absolutely. Have Arsenal had issues to deal with this season and still maintain that consistency? Yes. And ultimately, we just need to be better than those that we're competing with. We don't have to be perfect. We've fallen into this trap of believing that because we've watched Pep Guardiola go and win titles with 100 points. That's great. That's amazing. That's what you should aspire to. But is it our reality right now? I don't think it is.
Right. So we want to talk Gyokeres, don't we? Because the guy's doing some, I don't know. I assume that's his version of an upside down.
I don't even want to talk Gyokeres. The guy's not good enough. Like, what more is there to talk about now?
Yeah,
the guy is not good enough. He's actually one of the worst strikers I've seen play for Arsenal. And this is coming from someone who wanted him. Now, will he turn it around or not? He ain't going to turn it around to the level we all expected or wanted to come in with a striker. But week in, week out, like, I don't know what more to say about the guy. He's not even having a shot. So what should we talk about?
Jordan, I know you've been waiting for this.
No, you go.
Let me come clean. He's nearly lost me. And when I say that, I still support the guy. I still support the guy. Come on, Victor, you can do this. I did a video, and Jordan sent it in the chat. He thought I was joking last week. Did a video titled "The Truth About Victor Gyokeres," and basically what I said on it was, I really am. I'm not sure about the guy, but my word, our record with him is so much better than it is without. And Jordan, you made a good point about Saliba, Gabriel missing some of those games, sure. And I think there's certain times where genuinely, I think we benefited from the types of things he tries to do up front. I think it's helped. I'm now getting to the point where it doesn't matter to me anymore. And in that Liverpool game, I really was like, I don't care about all the stuff that I've been saying, because I just need a bit more quality on the ball, a bit more tech, a bit more personality. I need you to fit more I need you to be on a level with all the other players. He weirdly did actually one really good thing. That little reverse ball to Timber was great. And I was like, oh, that's nice. But otherwise, he just wasn't in the game at all.
It looked
I
like
don't
his,
think
it looked
What's
like
that,
his
sorry?
body was going to break down when he did that bloody
I
pass.
know. He doesn't move smooth, does he? Look, I'm not trying to get, I'm not trying to get personal about it whatsoever. I actually think the game to judge him isn't when the team have played terribly and he's up against Konate and Van Dijk, to be fair. And I actually still believe, deludedly,
19
maybe.
games before that.
Well, yeah, maybe some of the others.
I'm bringing out a video, the real truth about Gyokeres.
Yeah. Do you know what? You should have.
Can I be in it? Can I be in that one?
Point to my thumbnail, being like,
You know how I did with Matisse?
yeah. Nice. Do you know? Yeah, but Turkish though, like you really wanted this guy. That's all I'll say.
You're right. I've had enough of him as I had of Havertz. And this is me. Like I'm not something like I've got no affinity towards anyone until they do something and achieve with the club, right? I'm not just gonna love a football player because he's got nice hair or he's got a six-pack or he used to bang goals somewhere else. What you do for Arsenal is all I care about. And I'm sorry, people will mention Havertz and how I used to be onto him every week. Yes. Gyokeres, yes. The reason I say, do we need to talk about him again is because we're in a different place to what it was 2 years ago. We should win this league despite of the striker situation where 2 years ago, I thought we're not going to win the league because of the striker situation. So that's why my aggressiveness maybe to it, because I see a lot of people saying, oh, have the same energy you had when it's Havertz. I'm as tired of Gyokeres as I was of Havertz. So that's out there now. It's just that we've got something there on the table that we need to go eat. So let me forget about who else is on the table and who's eating with us. Just go and eat, and then we'll deal with what we need to deal with after. But I am very tired.
Harry, I want to hear from Harry. Before I go, what are your thoughts on Gyokeres?
My thoughts on Victor Gyokeres are simple, and cards on the table. I really wanted him as well. So
Same.
I'm not going to pretend that I didn't want him or that I was saying I never said go get Sesko over him when it was a straight up choice as far as we thought it was. My pick was Gyokeres because I wanted the ready now answer. But my thoughts are simple. If you have to look too hard to see what he's doing well, then you need to start looking at the player. If you're logging online after a game and you're seeing people getting screenshots of potential spaces that Victor Gyokeres could run into if somebody picked that pass out, then you got a problem. I always think as a striker that your movement has to be decisive enough that the guy on the ball doesn't hesitate and plays the pass. They see you moving, they see you going, they see the space, they hit the pass. There is a hesitance to play him into those areas. Why? Because I don't think there's a trust in him. I don't think that Martin Odegaard, when he's on the ball and we're trying to break down a low block and spots a bit of space, thinks if I work it into that space, Gyokeres is going to have the speed to get there first, the strength at times to hold it up, and the quality to make something of it. I think there's a lack of trust there. And people deny that. And Declan Rice came out the other day and was really sort of positive about him. And my response on my own podcast was, what do you want Declan Rice to say? Like, there's an element of sticking together, which I admire and I think is necessary. But sometimes you're not going to get the truth from, teammates. There is just like we're biased towards our club or towards certain things, they're going to be biased. Everyone has their biases. I just don't think he's at the level. I've been really disappointed with him. I've called it out many, many times. And when he has even had chances, and they're few and far between, he hasn't shown us that he's this lethal clinical finisher. He just kicks the ball as hard as he possibly can and hopes for the best. He hasn't got that deftness of touch. He hasn't got the vision. He hasn't got that guile, that spark. He is a player that is working extremely hard. But again, I'll finish off on this. If you have to look too hard to figure out what Victor Gyokeres contributed to a game, then that says it all for me.
He's in there.
I-
He's in
I-
this. He's in the Sonogo, Bentner, Shamak category at this moment in time.
He's below them. You've taken my notes, Turkish. He's below them. I'll be brief because every week I'm killing the guy.
It's the truth.
I think he is the worst striker since Jeffers that we've signed. Honestly, I think he is. I think Shamak. I think Bentner, Sonogo. I think they were all at least involved in play. They weren't good enough for Arsenal Football Club, but they all were at least. I watched him last night, guys, and I thought to myself, let me just play a cam him right for a little while.
That must have been fun.
Huh? Oh, mate. I mean, it wasn't a great game, so I had a lot of time to watch him, trust me. And I was watching his runs. He's in between Konate and Van Dijk. And I was trying to work out, is he trying to curl his run, trying to come short? I couldn't work out what he was trying to do. And I think Harry is so right, or James said it, wanted to everyone. I don't know if you're on the ball, what you're supposed to do, because you know that in behind, he ain't going to beat Van Dijk. His short play in terms of holding the ball up has proven to not be particularly effective and good. Even in the air, as a big guy, he's not winning flick-ons. He's not. I don't know what you're supposed to do if you're behind him and you have the ball. I look at other, because he's a big boy. I look at other players in the other strikers in the Premier League, other number 9s. Delap, Thiago, Jimenez, Mateta, Sesko, name whatever number 9 in the strike. There's a lot of big number 9s in this league you want. They're all, I think, 6 foot plus, right? But I think he's too big. He's too big around this area. So he's not mobile. All those guys are 6 foot plus, but they're all mobile. They can all get in behind. They can all. He's just not. He takes ages to turn and move and get going, and he is a caravan. He's like, oh, it's like, bro, and I can't blame him for being the size that he is. But the issue I have is with the club, while they profiled him and thought he was the guy to sign. I don't want to be too personal and too mean because that's just not nice. I'm just analyzing what I see. He's not mobile enough. His finishing isn't particularly good enough for me. I just don't know what you do with him. And I look at other number 9s in the league who aren't particularly great, who are of his size, but they look a lot more nimble and mobile and trim.
Do you know what it's come to?
Way too wide.
Do you know what it's come to, Jordan? And this is the most worrying thing is I think you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think it's become bigger than that. I think we could have said that 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. I think it's a mental issue now, a confidence issue now. And that's why I think
sorry, I've got to cut you there. Sorry, because I've heard this thing that people say he's lacking confidence. I think we our default setting as fans is when a player's not playing well, our default setting is he's lacking confidence. He's not lacking confidence. Well, he might be, but that isn't the problem. It's competence. He's just not of the level.
No,
he's just not of the level. It's not confidence. It's competence.
It's more confidence because he's not making the runs. His intensity behind his making of runs in behind, it shows a complete lack of confidence because the competence to make those runs is there, but the energy behind those runs is not there. So that's confidence to me. He's got the competence to make these runs. Whether you've seen it enough for us or seen it for Sporting before, he's got that in terms of he knows those sort of runs that suits him. But at Arsenal, especially yesterday, the energy behind these runs, and you look back at that Martinelli chance against I forgot who it was, but everyone said, look, Martinelli come on the pitch and look at that burst into the near post. He missed it. He went over the bar. But the intensity, firstly, Martinelli had the competence to make that run. Gyokeres has the competence to make these runs, but he hasn't got the confidence it doesn't look like he feels like he knows what he's doing on that pitch anymore.
But if you're not confident, you don't make the run. He's making the runs. They're just poor runs or slow. He's making the runs. They're just not very good runs. I think if you're not confident, you're not doing anything. You're just kind of existing. I don't want to give him the excuse of confidence because if he goes back to the Portuguese league,
confidence ain't about Jordan. This is where me and you disagree. Confidence ain't an excuse. I don't know who says confidence is an excuse. These men are on fucking hundreds of grands a week playing for a fucking big club, hairline intact. They're in their 20s, early 30s. When I say confidence, that's not an excuse. You should be confident. You have made it in life. You're a footballer. You're at Arsenal. So when I say confidence is a problem, that's not an excuse. That's why I said it's a bigger issue for me, because how the hell am I seeing a lack of confidence in you, who done everything to get here, who's wearing that badge now, who's on 200k a week, and you ain't confident?
I think it is to do with, like, I get what you're saying. Like, he hasn't got that. I think it's about football intelligence as well. I don't think it's there. You know, you mentioned that Martinelli run. I've been saying all season that every time the ball goes wide, where is Victor Gyokeres? He's in between the two centre halves. You can't always be in between the two centre halves. Yeah. And against Villa, he made one run, right, that I thought maybe the pennies just dropped.
I know the
cross
run.
Cross came in and he got across the front of the centre half, and he ended up heading it wide, right? But he was proactive enough to go, the ball ain't reaching me here. Because what you're relying on, if you're Victor Gyokeres, in his current approach to centre forward play, is my winger has to get past the fullback or deliver a cross that beats the fullback, that also beats the centre half at the front post. And then that is inch perfect for me. You're asking too much. Go and show for it. Come across the near post and give the winger something to aim at. Give the player that receives it on the corner of the penalty area something to aim at by being proactive in your movement. His movement is not sophisticated enough. That's the issue for me. And you can say he works hard and he covers loads of distance and he does make runs, but a lot of the time they're dead runs, because if they weren't, you'd be picking him out. Nobody's going to tell me that Martin Odegaard can't play a pass through the lines. Nobody's going to tell me that Martin Zubimendi can't do it. Nobody's going to tell me that Saka can't beat his man and deliver a ball into the box. His movement is not smart enough. And that, for me, is the biggest issue above everything else. And I don't think you can teach that. That's an instinct thing that the best strikers in football have. Gary Lineker spoke about it really well, I thought, on his podcast a couple of weeks ago, where he said a great striker anticipates where the ball's going to go. And he's proactive and makes that move early. An average striker, and maybe that sounds harsh that I'm calling Victor Gyokeres an average striker, but an average striker waits for the ball to come. And guess what? At the highest level, against the best defenders, against Van Dijk and Konate, the ball ain't going to come if you don't go looking for it. And this point I'm about to make now and finish off, it's not personal to Victor Gyokeres, but we've been talking all show about how Liverpool dominated the midfield. They dominated the midfield in part because Florian Wirtz was playing as a false nine and was dropping into that midfield and giving him an extra body. We chose not to do that. We chose to play with an out-and-out centre forward. But if your centre forward's not giving you anything in the forward end of the pitch and is not dropping to help out in terms of the overload and help you protect against being outnumbered, then he's a passenger. And he's been a passenger in a lot of games, and people are so desperate to say he done well that they're finding little things like the Declan Rice goal against Bournemouth. Did he play a part in it? Yeah, but it was so overblown, his part. Like, he doesn't produce a lovely touch or a clever little layoff. He literally goes and bundles into a crowd, which attracts attention from people. And so, yes, give him his credit, but there's a line where you're getting silly about it. And you're now going...
Have you seen that video, The Truth About Victor Gyokeres? Or...
I'll send you my thumbnail, mate. You'll love it.
Harry, that's funny. You know why it's funny? Because that's the one thing I did praise him for. That's the one thing he did that I did praise him for.
Yeah, but listen, as I'm saying, fine, praise him for that, right? But when you're having to turn that into like the big story of the game, it says a lot, doesn't it? I'm not saying that it's bad play, but I'm saying it's been overblown because we're all desperate to see him succeed. And I get it. We all want him to do well, but it's just not happening at the moment. That's the truth.
Yeah, 100. Sorry, James. As he was saying that thing, your thumbnail came to mind with the yellow.
It's a lot of people enjoyed that vid, so I'll take it. But you know what?
Sorry, James, I haven't seen it, mate. Sorry, I apologize.
No, you're all good. No, do you know why? It's why I was so careful when I was titling that vid. I didn't want to say like, you know, oh, Gyokeres is better than you think, because I just don't stand by it. So I just went with, all right, let's really break it down. What is it? I do think Rice said something in that quote, because he said Rice was praising him. Sorry, I know you want to move this on, Turkish, but when Rice was praising him, he said something about him having a lot of players on him. So I looked into that. I do feel that there's an element of whatever we are saying about Victor Gyokeres right now, I don't think defenders and other teams are treating him that way. I do think teams are worried about giving him space, worried about giving him space to strike, leaving him in a one-on-one position. I think teams are doing a lot of work to get in front of him. I genuinely do. I know that Bournemouth one, you're right. Like, it's a lot of, he didn't really do anything, and basically we're kind of praising him. But it was also really weird. Like the ball was into Gyokeres, and Bournemouth players just like a rash were just all over him. I'm not in the camp of worse than Sonogo, Bentner, Shamak, all these players. I'm not there. I haven't forgotten the good before, and I will stand by. I'm not going to rewrite history. I still think he gave us some really good performances pre-injury, and I still think there's a better player than we've seen. And that's not just because of this season. I think at Sporting against Man City, I think at Sporting in the Champions League in general, or against Arsenal, I thought he looked good for Sporting. So I'm not writing him off. I just don't think. I just can't be bothered to defend.
Bring me Krupi in the summer, please. That's all I'm saying.
But this is what we do. We just look. But guys, this is why I'm going to get annoyed, because then we talk about the next guy. Like, let's be really real. I know we've said it all jovially. Let's be really honest. We were all happy when we signed Gyokeres. Maybe we all just shouldn't comment on any transfer. Okay, all right, Jordan, fair. Maybe none of us should say anything and just back the club. Maybe because we were all wrong. Like, we were all like, do you know what I mean? We were all.
We're also smart enough. We're all smart enough, James, to know that not every transfer works. Like, so it's really easy with hindsight to say, that was the wrong decision. We all thought it was the right decision at the time. It probably isn't. We got to own it, and we got to move on. And let's see, hopefully in the summer, the club go and do something to try and maybe rectify.
Why does that annoy you, James?
Which bit? Sorry.
About moving on. Why does that annoy you?
The moving on doesn't annoy me. I think the noise in the fan base around getting Victor Gyokeres done. I'm not saying you, Turkish. I'm not saying me. I'm not saying. I think this was not everyone in the fan base wanted Gyokeres, but everyone wanted a striker done quick, basically. And I think basically no one's looked that good outside of Ekitike. I think, like, just with hindsight, we maybe now know why. Like, it did take a bit longer. We did negotiate for those extra couple million here and there. We weren't 100% sold on one player over another, because Sesko hasn't really impressed, has he? Albeit 2 really good goals the other night. I just think when I look back at the summer, we were all very loud about the striker situation. And I don't really think anyone across the Premier League has come out a real winner. Voltemada looks quite good, and Ekitike has been brilliant.
And Krupi he looks a gem, but
Again, I think, so on that point, why does that annoy me? Yeah, he looks really good. But again, like, we're basing it off 4 or 5 months. Yeah. And
no. So sorry, I'm not saying get me in. I'm not one of these people that is quite. So this Gyokeres thing, I know we need to move on, but this Gyokeres thing for me is really interesting, because I'm the sort of person that normally needs 2 years before I make a decision on a player. I normally need 2 seasons before I can be like, he's not good enough or he's a player, because you can we've seen players come to the Prem and have a really good first year, and then that's it, fall off, and then vice versa. My thing is, I looked at Gyokeres' I didn't look at his stats at Sporting. That's what I didn't look at his numbers. I looked at the player, and I said, this player technically is not going to be good enough in our team in the Premier League. I'm looking at Krupi, and it's not just a couple of months of form. I'm looking at the player. He needs coaching. He's raw and needs work. He needs work, trust me. But I look at Krupi, I'm like, that guy can finish. That guy can play. He needs work. His overall play needs a lot of work. But I look at the player. I don't care if he's got 1 goal in 8 or 9 goals in 4. I don't look at that. I look at the player. So I'm not getting gassed about him because he scored a few goals. Look at the goals he's scoring. The guy can finish. And there's work to be done on him that I think can go up 2 levels. With Gyokeres, I looked at the player and I'm like, power and pace in the Portuguese league is fine. In the Premier League, you can't come with just power and pace. You need tech. You need brains. And I wasn't seeing that at Sporting. So I don't want to be accused of just getting excited about a guy after a couple of months of good form. I'm looking at the player, and I see a player in Krupi that I'm like, that guy's got tech. I like that guy.
Keeping it moving now, because I'm weary of time. I mean, there's a couple of names I just want to bring up and just get quick thoughts on it before we not really talk about Portsmouth, but mention, what we do in terms of rotation. I'm sure we'd all rotate, but more sort of predictions. But strong links to Guehi and Semenyo officially signed for Man City. Does anyone think that should have been the other way around? Strong link to Semenyo last minute and allow Guehi to do what he needs to do?
The Semenyo signing is one of the weirdest signings I can think of in a long, long time. I have no idea why he's gone to Manchester City. I think Pep leaves this summer.
Yeah, he does,
You've got competition with Doku and on that side,
Foden, Shirky, like lots of players.
It's a weird. Why would you go to Man City over Liverpool, where Salah, I think, leaves this summer, as we all probably do? You can play left and right for Liverpool. The money can't be that much different.
Semenyo becomes their best winger, bro.
Yeah, it's a weird signing.
Semenyo becomes City's best winger.
Yeah.
Doku's not competition, bro. What? He does 4 weeks a year, and that's it. He's like Adama Traore, and that's that profile. Savinho's even worse. Semenyo's their best winger in terms of winger. Now, if you play Foden and Shirky off the right-hand side, that's a different profile of winger. But in terms of out-and-out winger, Semenyo's head and shoulders above both Doku and Semenyo.
Yeah,
Easy.
Maybe.
Easy. I would have liked us to maybe try and, throw a curveball into that one. But it seems like Guehi, Harry, do you think it's something that happens, or do you think it's just, tempting?
So I asked the question yesterday when I was at the game and sort of tried to sort of take the temperature on it a little bit, and what I got was, look, I'm sure Arsenal have had a conversation with Mark Guehi's representatives, as any big club doing their responsibilities and doing their work would, given that he's out of contract in the summer. But it's not something that Arsenal are looking at for this month. It would only be a deal in the summer. So this only stands a chance of happening if Manchester City or Liverpool, whoever, doesn't do a permanent deal during this transfer window. So if it goes to the summer, I think we've got as good a chance as anybody of landing him. The only thing that would worry me a bit is, how do we convince Mark Guehi that he's going to play enough when you've got Saliba and Gabriel there? And that's where some of the other clubs might have an advantage. But I don't think it's something Arsenal are looking to do in January. Is there a chance in the summer? Of course, there's a chance. But from what I understand, it was just an inquiry with his representatives that's probably been made by any number of clubs. Chelsea, City, Liverpool. I'm sure Bayern have asked the question. And there'll be others as well. So it's not something to get excited about or carried away about at this stage. But do I like the idea? Yeah, I do, because I think he's a good centre-half.
Yeah, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but there's space for another defender. Quite clearly, Calafiori and Nketiah are the left backs in Arteta's eye. Nketiah has gone off injured again. I think that's 2, maybe 3 injuries he's had this season. Calafiori, injury prone, he did well to stay fit for most of this campaign. Gabriel, 2 surgeries in 2025. Saliba, 3 injuries this year. Ben White, multiple injuries recently. Timber, 2 surgeries since he's arrived at Arsenal. Mosquera out for 2 months at the moment. Who am I missing? Like, there's room for another defender, and Lewis Skelly isn't looking like a left back right now. Now, to be fair, he probably needs a run of form, because you don't lock down Rodrigo and Vinicius because you just happen to have a good game. Like, you're clearly a very good defensive, reliable player, but he's just not at it at the moment. And Arteta, actually, this is what surprised me. I thought Lewis Skelly looked good in a handful of games. Palace in the cup, Wolves at home, I think, around Christmas. And then when the space opened up, he chose Nketiah because Gabriel returned. So I just think Lewis Skelly's minutes at left back are numbered. He'll be moved into midfield. And I think that also fits the fact that we play with a double pivot now. So we don't invert the left back as much. So I think it makes sense for Lewis Skelly to move into that long term. So Guehi makes complete sense. Here's my bold prediction. If Mark Guehi does go to City in January, I think Arsenal are willing to wait till the summer to get him, because I think they think he's the guy. But if he does go to City in January, they know that's off the table. I actually think we might bring in another left centre back in January. I think we might, just for numbers' sake.
Well, whether we do or whether we don't, we need to win this league. So whether it's the defense that does it or a new attacker that comes in, which seems very unlikely to help us along our way, even though we've got a few attackers that still need to work out from the summer. I say every attacker we sign in the summer still needs to to work out in some way, shape, or form. So we just have to hope for the best there. Portsmouth, a chance. I mean, when you said Lewis Skelly moves to midfield, the first thing I thought is, play him midfield against Portsmouth. Maybe put Norgard next to him, give him the 8 role. Then I remembered Hincapié off injured. What would you do with left back then? So we are quite limited in terms of what we do in certain positions against Portsmouth. But I'm assuming everyone here, full rotation as much as possible and just get the job done.
So what does that look like then? So we're basically saying Kepa in goal, White. Unfortunately, Saliba probably has to play. So White, Saliba,
Salmon.
Sorry,
Salmon.
Oh my
I'm
word!
not
Yeah,
mad at
so
that.
you're playing Gabriel, Calafiora, and Hincapié may be out. Oh my word! Yeah, well, Mark Guehi sign the contract.
Yeah, it's a hard lineup to predict. It's a hard lineup to really even give our thoughts on. I think just rotate as much as you can and find the right balance.
I think I'd like to see Eze start this game. I think he needs a full 90 minutes.
Eze starts, Madueke starts, Martinelli starts, Jesus starts up top.
I think we dropped Gyokeres out of the squad, and I think you start Jesus and hopefully have Havertz on the bench to come on and try and get some minutes. I wouldn't mind seeing Havertz getting we believe he's fit, right? And if he can get some minutes, that'll be positive. Sorry,
he's not fit, is he?
Yeah, he is.
He is.
I thought he was.
Yeah. I think I look at it this way: he's not been on the bench because nor has Waneri, because how do you leave any of the others off it? I think that's all it is. It's just like, cool, the others are there ready to go, and we can only bring a certain amount. I'm sure he's fit.
I think he'll be involved at the weekend. I think he will.
Would you guys loan out Ranieri to Bournemouth?
No, we might need him.
Absolutely.
I think we need him.
It's a great fit. It's a great fit. I think Bournemouth or Palace. Like, if he were to go, them the two I'd want him to go to. I think he played brilliantly for both, fit really nicely. But no, Arteta, I think, needs to at some point start using him and Eze. You know, Eze's played a lot this season. I've banged that drum a lot. But at some point, we need to see more of them too. And I want to see Eze start getting some regular minutes off the left. Trossard has that position now, but that's why I'd like to see Eze getting some minutes.
Yeah, let's move it on, people. Let's look at what the predictions are going to be. Before that, the table, it stays exactly the same. No one got a point from the Liverpool game, so I'm still top on 25, James in second on 22, Jordan's on 18, and the guest in fourth on 17. So we're going to make predictions for Portsmouth FA Cup this Sunday, starting with me and working our way around James, Jordan, and then obviously Harry. So Portsmouth FA Cup rotation. I'm just gonna go. I think, as much as I say rotation, I think it's a big chance for the attackers that play this Sunday to at least give Arteta something to think about moving forward. So I'm gonna say 4-0 Arsenal, and Starman to be Jesus. James.
2-0 Arsenal, Madueke.
Bollocks.
Jordan.
Oh man, I was gonna go 2-0.
You're chasing me, not James.
All right, I'll go 3-1 Arsenal. Starman. Let's go Eza. Go on.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
Harry?
I'll go 3-0 Arsenal and Starman Madueke.
Okay, nice. 3-0. Starman Madueke. There you go, people. That's all our predictions in. All healthy wins. Different Starmen, apart from me and Harry. We both gone the same. But let us know yours in the comment section below. And whilst you're at it, go subscribe to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Closing in on 50k.
Come on.
Pleasure to have him on. Before we do wrap it up and end with all the niceties, comments of the day. Are we good to go with that?
Yeah, let me fly in with this, man.
I don't actually have any comments in this week. Sorry, boys.
That's all right.
That's fine. You've delivered 200 in the last 3 weeks.
I like the top one though. I mean, it's easy to say, but I just remembered it even when I first saw it. The damn, we got Aquaman on today, because I can't lie, the way Premsley looks in the thumbnail.
No, there were some good ones. This one felt so personal but so true. So it's from Coach Cannon Culture. James talks about football like he's presenting a PowerPoint to the FA, pulls out a stat, pauses for applause, then realizes nobody asked. Oh, it hurts because it's true. He says elite pod though. Fair play, like well assessed. And if you want more of that, please subscribe to the Greenverse.
There was another one I saved. It was a reply to a comment. The comment said, I only got the reply, but the comment said something like, check Turkish's match reaction on Matisse's channel. After the Chelsea Man City result. And then the reply, I've got the reply here. It says, Turkish can look a bit like an ex-murderer in moments. A little bit too out of control for me personally. And yeah, I just like that. I don't know why I liked it, but yeah.
Amazing. Can I say, mate, Harry, class on today's pod. Thanks for joining us.
Best guess so far. Best guess, easy.
So
Easy.
I think you've been amazing, but Jordan says that to every guest, so take that with a pinch of salt. But,
but this week I mean it, Harry. This week, honestly, you've been class. You've been class,
man. Thank you for having me. Honestly, I really enjoyed the pod. I think you lot got a lovely little dynamic going on here. It's no surprise that it's taken off the way it has. So appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you so much, and hopefully speak again soon on at a time where maybe we're feeling a bit more upbeat and a bit more positive.
I'm feeling. I know what you mean. I'm feeling upbeat. This is a bloody good team we support. We'll be all right.
Should be. But big up Harry, man. Show him some love. James is right, and Jordan is right. With the best, he's right. Whether it's the best guest or whatever you want to take from him, Jordan's right. But big up Harry. Listen, he is closing on 50k. Go subscribe to him, but he's everywhere. He does commentaries on Talk Sport, so follow the socials as well, people. Show him some love because it won't be the last time Harry is on. But Harry, big up. As always, James, Jordan, love for the love people community. We'll see you when we see you. Make sure you like, hype, subscribe, and see you next time. Peace. We're out.